Most people think kidney failure begins with pain, but in truth, it often begins with silence. I've seen it time and again, people in their 60s or 70s, planning retirement, finally taking that long-awaited trip with their spouse. They feel fine, maybe just a little tired, a bit puffy in the ankles, nothing that stops them. But underneath that calm surface, their kidneys are quietly shutting down. No loud warning, just a slow fade. And by the time they realize what's happening, they're already sitting in a clinic, 3 days a week, hooked up to a machine that keeps them alive, but steals their time. That's the brutal part no one tells you. Dialysis doesn't just cost money, it costs life. Over $7,000 every single month, yes. But also 12 hours a week you can never get back. Hours when you could have been walking, laughing, dancing, holding your grandchild. Instead, you're tethered to a chair, your blood circulating through a machine because your own organs can no longer do their job. And the worst part? Most people didn't see it coming, because 9 out of 10 Americans with chronic kidney disease don't even know they have it. I remember one of my patients, Harold, 68, still coaching high school baseball, who came in for a routine checkup. His blood pressure was a little high, but nothing alarming. He mentioned feeling sluggish, but blamed it on too many late nights watching ball games. What we found shocked him. His kidney function was down by more than 40%. "But I feel fine," he said, and I had to explain that kidney decline is often painless until it isn't. Here's what I wish more people knew. Preventing dialysis doesn't require complicated treatments, expensive supplements, or rigid diets that take the joy out of eating. What it does require is consistency. Small daily choices that gently support your kidneys without overwhelming them. And the best part? These choices can actually taste good. Over the next few minutes, I want to share with you a handful of drinks, each made from just 3 ingredients, that can quietly, powerfully support your kidneys. These are not miracle cures. I don't believe in magic potions. But I do believe in peer-reviewed research, in decades of clinical experience, and in the kind of steady, gentle support that adds up over time. One of these drinks costs less than $1 to make. Another tastes like dessert but helps prevent kidney stones. One has roots in traditional medicine, but is now backed by modern science. And each of them is easy enough to prepare in under 2 minutes, with ingredients you can find at any local grocery store. You're about to discover how something as simple as a warm cup in your hand, taken just before bed, could quietly be giving your kidneys exactly what they need to keep going strong. Because the truth is, your kidneys aren't asking for much. They're not demanding exotic superfoods or supplements that cost more than your electric bill. They just need a little attention, a little consistency, and a little help. So let me ask you something. Would you rather spend a few moments learning how to make these drinks today, or spend years wishing you had? Because when it comes to kidney health, prevention doesn't shout, it whispers. And tonight, I'm inviting you to listen. You've probably heard that lemon water is healthy. But what if I told you that the right kind of lemon drink, paired with just 2 common kitchen ingredients, could become your kidney's nightly guardian? It might sound simple, even too simple. But behind that warm golden cup is a powerful trio of actions: stone prevention, blood sugar regulation, and inflammation control, all working quietly while you sleep. Let me start with this. The #1 cause of kidney damage in the United States is diabetes. The second is high blood pressure. And both conditions are directly influenced by what you consume every day. That's why I believe so strongly in this drink. It's not because it's trendy, it's because I've seen what it does gently, steadily, without side effects. Fresh lemon juice contains citric acid, a compound that works like a microscopic traffic officer inside your kidneys. Its job is to prevent minerals from clumping together and forming kidney stones. These stones aren't just painful, they can create long-term scarring that gradually reduces your kidney's ability to filter waste. In a study involving over 200 participants with a history of stones, those who drank lemon juice regularly saw a significant drop in recurrences over 2 years. That's not marketing. That's science. But this drink doesn't stop at stones. The real surprise lies in the ginger. Just 1 gram a day has been shown to lower fasting blood sugar by 20% in dialysis patients. That matters. Because stable blood sugar means less damage to the tiny blood vessels inside your kidneys. Ginger's anti-inflammatory compounds also work directly on another common culprit, chronic inflammation, which silently chips away at organ function year after year. And then there's honey. Not just for sweetness, though that helps. Raw, unprocessed honey contains enzymes and antioxidants that soothe your digestive system and gently support immune balance. It's also the key to making this drink something you'll actually look forward to. Because let's face it, nobody sticks with something that tastes like punishment. And with this, you won't have to. So here's how I make it for my own evening ritual. I take about ½ an inch of fresh ginger root and grate it finely just enough to feel the warmth, not the burn. Then I squeeze in 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, not from a bottle, but straight from a ripe, heavy lemon that smells like sunshine. I add 1 teaspoon of raw honey and stir it into a cup of warm water. Think comfortable tea temperature, not boiling. The warmth helps the compounds dissolve and activates their gentle effects without shocking your system. If you prefer to save time, you can make a ginger honey concentrate in advance. Just mix about 15 grams of grated ginger with 100 milliliters of raw honey and store it in a glass jar in the fridge. Each evening, take a teaspoon of that, add fresh lemon juice, and top with warm water. It becomes a moment you actually look forward to, simple, nurturing, and quietly powerful. Now, a word of caution. Ginger, though natural, can amplify the effects of blood-thinning medications. If you're on anything like warfarin, check with your doctor first. I always remind my patients, natural doesn't mean risk-free. But used wisely, this drink becomes one of the most accessible forms of kidney support I've ever recommended. One of my former colleagues, a 72-year-old retired nurse named Evelyn, told me this became her bedtime ritual. She'd spent decades giving care to others and finally found something simple that gave back to her. "It's like tucking my kidneys in for the night," she told me with a smile. That stuck with me, because that's exactly what this is. A nightly act of kindness toward the organs that work hardest, ask for the least, and suffer silently when ignored. And this is just the beginning. Because while lemon, ginger, and honey can do wonders, the next drink on our list adds a different kind of magic, an infusion that smells like apple pie, but acts like medicine. Sometimes, the most dangerous threats are the ones that feel comforting. A warm drink, a cozy evening, a familiar scent drifting through the house. But here's the twist. Many of the things we associate with comfort, especially when it comes to food and drink, are quietly stressing the kidneys. Hidden sugars, high potassium loads, excessive acidity. That's why when I first started recommending this next drink, people were surprised. Apple and cinnamon? Isn't that dessert? Yes, it smells like apple pie. But it works like medicine. This gentle infusion is more than just nostalgic. It's a low-potassium, anti-inflammatory, blood sugar stabilizing powerhouse that's easy to prepare and easier to stick with. For patients already dealing with kidney concerns, it offers something rare, a combination of safety, science, and sensory pleasure. Let's begin with apples. Unlike bananas or oranges, apples are naturally low in potassium, making them ideal for those trying to limit mineral overload on their kidneys. But their real strength lies in polyphenols, tiny antioxidant compounds that act like maintenance crews inside your body. They reduce oxidative stress, a key driver of kidney damage, by neutralizing the unstable molecules that chip away at cells. And when combined with water, apples gently release these compounds into the liquid, making every sip an act of protection. Now add cinnamon. Not the sugary powder you find on top of lattes, but real cinnamon bark, preferably Ceylon cinnamon, known for its safer daily use. Cinnamon plays a vital role in regulating blood sugar. It slows the rate at which food empties from your stomach, which means glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. The result? Fewer sugar spikes, less insulin chaos, and less stress on your kidneys. One of the quiet truths about chronic kidney disease is that it often walks hand in hand with type 2 diabetes. Many of my patients struggle with both, often without realizing that their morning blood sugar readings are early warnings for deeper organ stress. That's why this drink matters, because it gives your kidneys space to breathe without compromising taste. Here's how I guide my patients to make it. Take one medium apple, choose one that feels firm, heavy, and smells slightly sweet. Slice it thin, skin on. That's where most of the polyphenols live. Place the slices in a large glass pitcher and add 2 whole cinnamon sticks, not powder sticks. Then fill with about 2 liters of clean filtered water. Cover and let it infuse in the refrigerator overnight, or at least for 12 hours. What you'll get is a subtly sweet, softly spiced drink that comforts the senses while quietly supporting your filtration system. I often recommend drinking it in the afternoon, between meals. That's when your body is most prone to dehydration and blood sugar dips. The gentle acids in the apple can be mildly irritating on an empty stomach, so spacing it from food helps most people tolerate it better. And yes, it stores beautifully for up to 3 days in glass containers. No plastic if you can help it. The flavors deepen over time, making day 2 even better than day 1. A patient of mine named Loretta, a retired librarian in her 70s, started drinking this daily after her potassium levels began creeping upward. She told me it reminded her of fall afternoons in Vermont, where her mother used to stew apples on the stove. Now it feels like self-care, she said, like I'm reclaiming something that once felt dangerous and making it healing. Of course, as with all things natural, there's a caution. Cinnamon can interact with certain diabetes medications by enhancing their glucose-lowering effects. If you're on any medications for blood sugar, talk with your provider before making this a daily habit. Most of the time, it's completely safe, but it's always better to be aware. When chosen carefully, prepared simply, and enjoyed consistently, this apple cinnamon infusion becomes more than a drink. It becomes a ritual, a way of telling your kidneys, I see you, I appreciate you. And just like the lemon ginger tea before it, this isn't just about flavor, it's about choosing protection over regret. But don't put your pitcher away just yet, because the next drink in our journey brings something altogether different. A burst of tropical refreshment wrapped in a bright green promise. Dehydration doesn't always look like cracked lips or dizziness. Sometimes it looks like fatigue in the late afternoon. It sounds like brain fog. It hides in the tension headaches that creep in by evening. What most people don't realize is that even low-grade dehydration is one of the most silent yet aggressive enemies of kidney health. When your body lacks fluid, your kidneys have to work harder to filter waste. Over time, that pressure builds, quietly, relentlessly. That's why I love this next drink. Because it doesn't just hydrate, it heals. And it does so through flavor, through joy, through the kind of refreshment that makes you pause, breathe, and actually enjoy the process of taking care of yourself. It's a simple blend, but don't let that fool you. Watermelon, mint, and lime create a synergy that both cools the body and strengthens the organs that work hardest behind the scenes. Let's begin with watermelon. This fruit is more than just summer nostalgia. It's over 90% water, making it one of nature's most effective ways to restore hydration without flooding the body. But hydration is only the beginning. Watermelon contains a compound called citrulline, which helps relax blood vessels. When vessels relax, blood flows more freely. Oxygen reaches the tissues more efficiently, and your kidneys, Those intricate filtering systems can do their job with less strain. Now add lime. Like lemon, lime provides citrate, which binds to calcium in the urinary tract. This matters deeply because calcium oxalate crystals are the foundation of most kidney stones. By preventing those crystals from forming, lime protects not just from pain, but from the long-term damage stones can inflict on kidney tissue. And because it's naturally tart, lime also balances the sweetness of the watermelon, creating a flavor profile that feels indulgent but works medicinally. Finally, mint. Cool, refreshing, aromatic. But beyond flavor, mint is rich in antioxidants. These compounds combat inflammation, a root cause of many chronic conditions, including kidney decline. The menthol in mint also calms the digestive tract and enhances circulation, adding another layer of support for systemic balance. Here's how I make this drink for my patients and myself on warm days or after light activity. Take about 200 grams of fresh watermelon, cut into chunks, add a tablespoon of fresh lime juice and 3 or 4 mint leaves. Blend gently, just enough to break it down without pulverizing the seeds. If you prefer a lighter consistency, add a small splash of water. Then strain through a fine mesh for a smooth finish. The result? A glass of tropical clarity, clean, sweet, tart, and deeply hydrating. It's best enjoyed within an hour or two of preparation. Watermelon's antioxidants are fragile and begin to degrade once exposed to air and light. For that reason, I don't recommend making large batches. Keep it fresh, keep it cool, and keep it close. I usually suggest drinking it in the late afternoon. That's when hydration tends to dip, blood sugar begins to fluctuate, and cravings creep in. This drink satisfies all three without burdening the kidneys or disturbing your sleep. Now, a word for those managing blood sugar. Watermelon is naturally sweet, but has a relatively low glycemic load when consumed in moderation. Still, if you're tracking glucose closely, consider having this drink alongside a small handful of almonds or a slice of turkey breast. Pairing it with protein helps slow absorption and keeps your levels more stable. One of my longtime patients, Marcus, a 74-year-old widower who gardens every morning, told me this became his reward after tending the tomatoes. "I call it my spa water," he laughed. "It makes me feel like I'm doing something good for myself, and it tastes like vacation." That's the kind of self-care I believe in. Simple, sensory, effective. So if you've ever felt guilty for enjoying something sweet, let this drink be the antidote. Because when chosen well, nature's sweetness can nourish, not sabotage. And your kidneys, overworked and often overlooked, will thank you for every cool sip. Coming up next, we'll explore a tropical blend that takes your taste buds to the beach, but your kidneys straight to safety. People often assume that anything tropical must be good for you. Pineapples, coconuts, bright orange powders labeled superfood. But here's the truth few people talk about. Some tropical blends can actually harm your kidneys if you're not paying attention. Hidden potassium levels, added sugars, synthetic additives, they all sneak in under the guise of health. That's why I love this next drink. Because when done right, it flips the script. It's not just a vacation in a glass. It's targeted support for your kidneys backed by science, powered by nature. The first ingredient is pineapple. Most people know it for its sweetness and juiciness, but its real strength lies deeper in an enzyme called bromelain. This compound reduces inflammation by breaking down specific proteins that trigger swelling and pain. For kidneys, that matters. Chronic inflammation is like a slow fire in the body. It damages the microscopic filters in your kidneys, reducing their ability to clean your blood effectively. Bromelain works like a natural extinguisher, calming that fire before it leaves permanent scars. But what makes pineapple even more valuable is that, unlike other tropical fruits, it's relatively low in potassium. That makes it safer for people who already have some degree of kidney impairment. It delivers sweetness and therapeutic benefit without overloading the body's filtration system. and when paired with coconut water, its power expands. Coconut water is nature's electrolyte solution. It contains magnesium, a mineral essential for relaxing blood vessels and regulating blood pressure. And since high blood pressure is the second leading cause of kidney failure in the United States, that matters more than most people realize. Unlike sports drinks that are often laced with artificial colors, excess sodium, and preservatives, pure coconut water works with the body, not against it. It supports hydration gently, without overwhelming the kidneys. Then comes turmeric, the golden root, the ancient remedy, but more importantly, the modern anti-inflammatory superstar. Its active compound, curcumin, has been shown to reduce proteinuria, the leakage of protein into urine that signals kidney damage. In a recent review of chronic kidney disease patients, those who took curcumin consistently showed a marked reduction in that protein loss. That's not just data, that's evidence of healing at the cellular level. To make this drink, I start with 200 milliliters of fresh coconut water. To that, I add 50 grams of fresh pineapple, about 1 thick slice. Then I include a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder. If I have fresh turmeric root on hand, I use about 1/2 inch, peeled and grated. Blend until smooth. That's it. No sugar, no fillers, no hype. Just 3 ingredients that taste like a tropical treat, but work like a targeted kidney tonic. One important note: this drink doesn't store well. Pineapple's enzymes begin to break down other nutrients soon after blending, and turmeric can develop a bitter aftertaste when left exposed. This is what I call a make and drink now moment. But the good news is it takes under 2 minutes to prepare fresh every time. I usually recommend drinking it in the morning or before light activity. That's when the body is most ready to absorb anti-inflammatory compounds. Circulation is stronger, metabolism is more active, and the benefits reach the kidneys faster. As always, a word of caution. Turmeric, while natural, can thin the blood slightly. If you're on any anticoagulant medication, talk with your doctor before adding this drink to your routine. Most people are fine, but safety should always walk beside habit. One of my patients, Denise, a former ballroom dancer in her late 60s, started using this drink before her morning stretch routine. She told me it reminded her of something she might sip on a beach in Maui. It feels indulgent, she said, but it's healing something deeper. And that's what I hope for you too, that your self-care doesn't feel like a burden, but like a gift, a moment of warmth, color, and flavor that also supports the quiet organs keeping you alive. Because caring for your kidneys doesn't always look like medicine. Sometimes it looks like a golden glass catching the light on your kitchen counter. And sometimes it sparkles. Because the next drink on our list adds bubbles, brightness, and a whole new reason to look forward to your afternoon break. Most of my patients believe they have to give up sparkling drinks completely once they're diagnosed with kidney concerns, and I understand why. Most commercial sodas are packed with artificial sweeteners, phosphoric acid, sodium additives, and dyes, each one a small attack on an already tired filtering system. But here's the good news. Not all bubbles are bad. In fact, when paired with the right ingredients, sparkling water can become one of the most enjoyable and kidney-safe drinks you'll ever try. That brings us to this next recipe, guava lime sparkling water. It's bright, fresh, gently sweet, and loaded with benefits. This drink flips the script on what a fizzy beverage can be. It hydrates, protects, and satisfies that craving for effervescence without compromising your health. Let's start with guava. This tropical fruit doesn't get the attention it deserves, especially in kidney nutrition. Guava is low on the glycemic index, with readings between 12 and 29 depending on ripeness. That makes it gentle on blood sugar, a crucial factor for anyone managing diabetes, the leading cause of kidney failure in the United States. But guava is also a fiber powerhouse. 2 medium guavas provide 9 grams of fiber, which slows sugar absorption and reduces insulin spikes. That's like giving your kidneys a break with every bite, or in this case, every sip. But guava's gifts don't stop there. It's rich in vitamin C and polyphenols, plant-based antioxidants that protect your kidney cells from oxidative stress. Think of these compounds as invisible shields, neutralizing the daily wear and tear caused by toxins, high blood sugar, and inflammation. The fruit's mild sweetness also means there's no need to add sugar, which is rare in the world of flavored drinks. Now add lime. We've already talked about its role in kidney stone prevention, how its citrate binds to calcium and helps prevent those sharp, painful crystals from forming in your urinary tract. In this drink, lime also acts as a flavor amplifier, cutting through the creamy texture of guava and balancing the overall profile. And finally, sparkling water. But not just any kind. It must be plain, unsweetened, and free from added minerals or artificial ingredients. The right kind of sparkling water adds not just fizz, but a refreshing lift that makes this drink feel like a treat. And for many of my older patients who've struggled to stay hydrated, that sensory pleasure is the difference between sticking with a healthy habit and letting it slide. Here's how I prepare it. I take 2 medium guavas, peel them if the skin is too thick, and blend them with just enough water to create a smooth puree. Then I strain the mixture to remove seeds and fibrous bits. To that, I add about 1 or 2 teaspoons of fresh lime juice and stir in 150 milliliters of sparkling water. The key is to mix gently, preserving the bubbles. The result? A vibrant, frothy drink that dances on your tongue and leaves you feeling refreshed, not bloated, not spiked, not crashing later. It's best enjoyed immediately, as vitamin C and other antioxidants degrade quickly when exposed to air and light. I usually recommend this as a mid-morning or early afternoon refreshment. It gives you a lift without caffeine, supports kidney function, and replaces sugary sodas with something that actually helps. But let's be clear, guava, while lower in sugar, is higher in potassium than some other fruits. For most people, that's not a concern. But if you have advanced kidney disease, especially stage 4 or 5, you'll want to consult your doctor about portion size. As I always say, the difference between medicine and harm is often just the dose. I remember Harold, a 65-year-old former truck driver, who had a 2-soda-a-day habit for over 30 years. After switching to this guava lime version, not only did his energy improve, but his potassium and blood pressure levels finally stabilized after months of stubborn elevation. He still sends me photos of his afternoon fizz ritual with a lime slice on the rim like he's on vacation. That kind of joy? That's healing too. So if you've been told to cut sparkling drinks from your life, consider this your permission slip to reintroduce bubbles with purpose. Because with the right ingredients, refreshment doesn't have to come at your kidney's expense. But don't put your blender away just yet. Our final drink is both a classic and a surprise. It's simple, bright, and might just become your new morning tradition. Some juices wear a disguise. Bright color, sweet flavor, natural ingredients. They look healthy, they taste healthy. But for aging kidneys, some of these health drinks can quietly push you closer to trouble, especially when they come loaded with sugar, or strip away the fiber your body needs to process them properly. That's why this last drink is so important. Because it isn't just about vitamins, it's about balance, about synergy, about the power of 3 humble ingredients: carrot, apple, and ginger, working together to protect the organs you rely on every single day. Let's begin with carrots. Most people think of beta-carotene and vision, and that's true. But the real value of carrots lies in what beta-carotene becomes vitamin A, one of the most potent antioxidants available. For kidneys, this means cellular protection, a shield against the oxidative stress that builds up from medications, processed food, and even the air we breathe. Carrots are also rich in fiber when consumed whole or blended carefully, And that fiber helps reduce the toxin load your kidneys need to filter by supporting healthy digestion. Now, apples. These are more than just a safe fruit for people with kidney disease. Apples, especially with the skin intact, are rich in pectin, a type of soluble fiber that binds to cholesterol and toxins in the gut, reducing their burden on your kidneys. Pectin has been shown in studies to slow the progression of kidney disease by lowering the strain on your filtration system. It also helps stabilize blood sugar and reduce inflammation, giving your body more stability throughout the day. Then comes ginger. And by now, you already know what this warming root can do. But here's where it becomes even more essential. In this blend, ginger does more than fight inflammation. It also sharpens the flavor, balancing the sweetness of apple and carrot with a subtle bite. That flavor complexity matters, because the more satisfying a drink is, the more likely you are to stick with it. And consistency is everything when it comes to kidney health. Here's how I make it. 1 medium carrot, 1 small apple, and a piece of fresh ginger about the size of your thumbnail. Wash thoroughly. Keep the skins on unless they're damaged, and either juice or blend. If using a juicer, feed the carrot first, then the apple, finishing with ginger, to clean the machine as it works. If using a blender, chop into small pieces, add a small splash of water, just enough to get the blades moving, and blend until smooth. Strain through a fine mesh if you prefer a clearer finish. This juice is best consumed within 24 hours. Store it in a glass bottle, away from light and heat. Vitamins A and C are delicate. They oxidize quickly. I recommend drinking this first thing in the morning, not just because it energizes, but because it sets the tone for your entire day. You're starting with nourishment, not caffeine. With hydration, not stimulation. With intention. Now a word for those managing blood sugar. Yes, this drink contains natural sugars, but when prepared properly, the fiber and ginger help slow absorption. Still, I suggest pairing it with a handful of almonds or a boiled egg if you're especially sensitive. It's a small adjustment that can make a big difference. I once had a patient named Joan, 71, who'd spent years avoiding fruit juices because of her diabetes. When we introduced this blend, small portions, thoughtful timing, she lit up. "It feels like I'm not missing out anymore," she said. That's the kind of healing that goes beyond biology. It touches dignity, joy, the right to enjoy something delicious without fear. And that's the heart of everything I've shared with you across these drinks. Each one is a gentle form of protection, a way of saying thank you to your kidneys for working silently, tirelessly, and without applause. Whether it's ginger warming your throat, or mint cooling your breath, or the sparkle of lime waking up your afternoon, each of these drinks represents a choice, a shift, a moment of care that echoes through your bloodstream long after the glass is empty. Now that you've heard them all, I want you to remember this. The difference between dialysis and prevention isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's a daily ritual, a flavor, a pause, a glass raised not just to thirst, but to life. If you've made it this far, then you already understand something many people never will. Prevention isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't shout from a billboard or knock you off your feet. It whispers. Through a warm cup before bed, through a cooling glass in the afternoon sun, through the soft fizz of lime in sparkling water, or the earthy sweetness of pineapple blended just right. The kidneys are humble. They don't scream until it's nearly too late. And that's why they require a different kind of care, a kind that listens before the damage sets in. Every drink I've shared with you tonight wasn't just about hydration or flavor. It was about protection. Gentle, steady, effective. The kind of protection that adds up day after day, until one day you realize you've done something powerful without ever calling it heroic. 6 drinks, 3 ingredients each. Each one chosen not for hype or trend, but for what the research shows and what real patients, real people like you have experienced. This isn't about overhauling your life. It's about adjusting your rhythm, about replacing fear with intention, about showing up for yourself in the smallest of ways, consistently. Now, let me be clear. These drinks do not replace medical care. They do not override your doctor's advice or undo years of chronic disease. But they do make a difference. They buy you time. They reduce your risk. They turn your kitchen into a quiet clinic and your habits into healing. If you're living with high blood pressure, diabetes, or early kidney concerns, I urge you work with your physician. Watch for the early signs: fatigue that won't lift, swelling in the ankles, changes in urination. Don't wait. Don't guess. These signs are the body's early SOS. And the sooner you respond, the more power you have to change the story. I want to thank you for staying with me tonight, for choosing to learn, for choosing, in a world of noise, to listen to something quieter. If even one of these drinks becomes part of your routine, then this time has been worth every word. Because your kidneys are worth protecting, your time is worth preserving, and your life, yes, your life is worth extending. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below. Tell me which drink you'll try first. Tell me what your kidneys have been through. Let others learn from your journey, just as you've learned from mine. And if you know someone who might be one quiet glass away from a better tomorrow, share this with them. Because healing, like prevention, is rarely loud. But when we do it together, it becomes something powerful, something lasting, something real.